Hello fellow students, my name is Anastasia and I'm a current student at Penn State University. My today's lecture will be on the subject of speech errors. To be more precise, lapsus lingua, which you can also know as the slip of the tongue. This is a particularly curious language phenomenon which gives us better understanding of what is speech norm and what is speech deviation. This helps us to understand more clearly what mechanisms drive us through language processing, and we can make use of this knowledge. Speech errors provide us with information on neurological, psychological, and linguistic layers of our thinking. So now, as you possess some general information about how important it is to conduct the research on speech errors, I invite you to focus on our own research, which we made in collaboration with Elena Rodionova. We aimed at finding out why people do make speech errors, what is the reason, and now I would like to turn to the results which we gained, one of which is a classification of speech errors, one of possible classifications for people in psychologically and neurologically healthy condition. So, by the end of this lecture, you will better understand why do you make speech errors and how can you possibly avoid them.
Searching for words is automatic. Here are the factors which are able to disturb this automatic word search. The first is stressful situations and post-stress conditions, including non-aphakic type diseases as a special case of the stress state. The impact of professional vocabulary is the second, temporary impact of a particular information field, and temperament, also known as idiosyncrasy in medical terms. Let's discuss each of these factors. Errors than others, and the potential for a spontaneous speech error increases if a person is stressed, tired, or distracted. There should be a necessary condition for a special error to occur, the presence of a communicative situation and a need to deliver a message to the recipient. This can be a source of anxiety, stress, and can cause a subsequent lapsus lingua, for example, when addressing a large number of people in a formal setting. Another good example can be rapid speech addressed to a listener in limited time conditions. Stress can be expressed through total excitement, which affects the pace of the speech processing and in general retardation too. So slip of the tongue can occur in both cases. Thus, the very act of speaking may become stressful. A person focusing on his own speaking, who attempts to analyze it while producing, can make slips of the tongue. Full distraction from his speech due to, for example, exhaustion also generates errors, but in this case, not because of focusing attention, but because of losing it. Let's turn to point 2. Which belong to specialized scientific or technical vocabulary, which are used daily in the professional field, and they are often used as frequently as some words of the general lexicon. Spontaneous speech error may happen when a person mixes two words by sound or by their meaning features. One word of such special terms and second of more commonly used words. Long-term activity during which some word is repeated and can also be the reason for a single speech error. It will look like one word substituting another. This activity may be various. It may be a long speech, reading a book, emotional communicative act, watching a movie, or any other act that requires the attention on the part of the subject. On the picture, you see a good example. It should be noted, though, that before asking for adding some words, the speaker talked about war. Consequently, due to acoustics, temperament. To analyze the types of temper and identify their possible influence on the error production, we use the classification of Krasnogorsky. He speaks of 4 psychotypes: sanguine, choleric, melancholic, and phlegmatic. He presumes that sanguine and choleric types, which are marked in red, are the most subjected to speech errors. However, they carry only a predisposition to possible errors, but not their presence.
Now we have touched upon one of the possible classifications for spontaneous speech errors, and you would probably want to know how to get rid of those. There is no special remedy, of course, and spontaneous speech errors are natural and not something disastrous at all. But there are some occasions on which you just need to have a good command on your language, and this concerns public speaking. To some extent, you can help yourself with this.
First of all, you must convince yourself that the subject of your speech is really exciting and will attract people. Practice speaking with your friends and relatives. Focus your energy on what it feels like to present in the moment. Care more for your listeners than for yourself. Prepare a good plan of speaking. There should be an opening, 3 good middle points, and a summary or conclusion. Also, don't try to speak on too many issues at the same time. Don't wander off the topic. Think carefully before you talk. Use silence to make up your mind towards the next issue. Don't look directly into people's eyes for not to be distracted by them. And in conclusion, never get confused.
Now we have discussed both issues of today's agenda. Thank you for a great lecture. Goodbye.